Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today we are making this gorgeous autumn leaves square based on a square by kristencrochets.com. Go and have a look at her page there, but adapted from that by our very own Leah Foreman in our group. She's one of our team members who helps to bring all the patterns to you each day, and so she's created this based on Kristen's square. So we've called it autumn leaves, but of course I know in some parts of the world you're starting springtime, so you could decide to do this in some beautiful bright greens. I've done this in all these sort of shades of autumn, all these different colours that you see in leaves in autumn. You could do it in one colour, you could do it in 8 different colours, or you could alternate your colours even. So or you could use a variegated yarn. That would look awesome too. So it's not as complicated as it may look. It just takes a little while to do. So grab whatever yarn you're going to use, grab your hook, your scissors, and once we've done the leaf part, you may wish to use some stitch markers or pins just to hold your leaves together when we get to there. And you'll need a needle for sewing together as well. So grab all of that, a cup of tea or coffee, and let's get cracking. Okay, so to start, you need to chain 6, slip stitch into the first chain and make a ring. You could use the magic ring if you prefer, although I kind of like the look of these leaves with that open centre, but entirely up to you. So chain 1, and then into your ring you are going to do 8 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you are going to slip stitch to your first single crochet. So even if you've done that chain 6, just pull it in a little bit, there we go, and then you can slip stitch in your first single crochet. If you're not sure whether this is the single crochet or this one, because obviously we have the chain, then just count back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is this one just here. Slip stitch into there, and that will be round 1. Okay, now for round 2, this is where we are going to make our 8 leaves. And if I just bring mine in here, I have my 8 leaves already made here, and I've just attached them together to keep them in the round, and I've realised I've missed one join there. But this is my 8 leaves. Now I've done all these 8 in different colours, because I kind of like that sort of going from the light round to the dark, different autumny shades. But you could do this all in one colour, or you could change every colour. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to do it in both of those ways. Okay, so just put that aside. So as you can see, your centre colour, if you decide to do the first leaf in that colour, as I did here with my brown, then it will be the same as your centre. Or you could just leave your centre like that, and then you could start with a completely different colour for your leaf, entirely up to you. So I am going to show you how to start that first leaf. Now if you want to keep your centre as a separate colour, then just join your leaf colour into the very same stitch that you did your slip stitch into. Okay, and then whether you have just joined there or whether you're keeping the same colour, you want to chain 1 and then single crochet into the very same place as you did this slip stitch. Okay, so there we go. So we've got a single crochet in our very first stitch. And now what we're going to do is chain 8. Okay, and then we are going to slip stitch in the 5th chain from our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch in that 5th chain, and this will make a ring at the top. So we have our ring here at the top now. You can see there's a ring there. Okay, and then we have this sort of chain joining up to our initial ring at the bottom there. So what we're going to do now is work into this ring at the top here. So what you kind of need to do is turn it all upside down, have your working yarn over the top of that chain. So this is how we are at the moment. We've just slip stitched in here. So keep your yarn above your work and turn like so, because we're going to work into this ring here at the top now. So chain 1, and then you're going to do 10 single crochets in this ring here. 10 single crochets. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then you're going to slip stitch into your first single crochet. So again, if you're not sure which stitch it is, which is your stitch or which is your chain, then just count back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then do a slip stitch into that first single crochet. Okay, so now you've kind of got 2 rings joined together by that chain, 2 rings of single crochets. Okay, so on this same ring that we're working on, we are now going to start on the, as I'm going to call it, the frilly leafy part. So shaping it like a leaf. So first of all, we're going to chain 3 as a double crochet, and then do a double crochet in that very same stitch. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a double crochet, and then you're going to do a picot, a chain 3 picot, which is chain 3, and then do a slip stitch into the very first chain. And that just creates this little sort of bud shape, I suppose you could call it. Okay, and then do a double crochet in that very same stitch. Okay, and then in the next stitch we're going to do a single crochet and a half double crochet. In the next stitch we're going to do a double crochet, one of those chain 3 picots, so chain 3 and slip stitch into the very first chain, and then do a half double crochet in that same stitch. Now in the next stitch we're going to have a lot of stitches. We're going to do a single crochet and a half double crochet, double crochet, a picot, chain 3 and slip stitch in that first chain, and then we're going to work back down in our sizes, so a double crochet in that same stitch, half double crochet and a single crochet, all in that very same stitch, and it just gives you that sort of triangular shape there with the picot at the top. Now into the next stitch, which will be almost hidden, just kind of pull these stitches over and you'll see that next stitch, it is a bit hidden, so don't skip that one. I've just thrown my yarn on the floor. So in this next one you want to do a single crochet, a picot, and a half double crochet in that same stitch. Okay, in the next stitch we're going to do a half double crochet and a single crochet. The next stitch, double crochet, picot, and double crochet, and then the next stitch, 2 double crochets, and in the last stitch 2 double crochets, and then slip stitch into the top of your starting chain of 3. And that is your leaf shape. I turn this around. That is your leaf shape finished. There we go. How lovely is that leaf? And these picots just give you these little pointy ends. So there we go. Love that. Okay. Okay, so I've now got my leaf upside down again, ready to continue working on this. So if you look at the chain below, make sure you've got this ring here and the leaf all facing the right way. Make sure this chain here isn't twisted around or anything. Make sure it's all facing nice and flat towards you. And then if you look here, we have, on this first ring, we have our single crochet, and then we have our chain that links up to the leaf, and you want to do a slip stitch in these last 2 chains here. So do a slip stitch in the first one, which it might be a bit of a loose slip stitch, but it's perfectly fine, and then go into that last chain above that single crochet and do a slip stitch, and there you go. Okay, something a bit like this. Okay, and now if you are changing colour to a new colour leaf, you want to fasten that off. So just pull that through and then snip your yarn, pull that tight, oops, pull that tight, and then there's your first leaf. Looking rather lovely. Okay, I'm going to grab another colour now. Okay, so just for a complete contrast, I've grabbed some orange yarn, and what you want to do is, I've made a slip knot. I'm going to just join that into the next single crochet around on our initial ring. So I'm going to put my hook through, grab that slip knot, pull it through, and obviously there are plenty of ways you could join this. So I'm going to join that with that slip stitch, and then I will chain 1 and do a single crochet for starting my new yarn, and then we will make the leaf just as we did before. If you are staying with the same colour yarn, all you need to do is come over into this next stitch and do a single crochet, and that's all you need to do. So when you've got your single crochet like I have here, we will continue and make our second leaf. So I'm going to show you the leaf once again, and then I will leave you to make the last 6 leaves. Okay, so make sure you have the right side facing you of this ring, and then we're going to chain 8. I'm going to put my finger on the 4th, because that one, the 4th or the 5th from the hook, is where we're going to slip stitch into to form our ring. Okay, so now we have our ring here, and now keeping this all on the right side, I'm just going to spin this around and hold my ring there and just pull this yarn in. So I'm going to bring my yarn over the top of this chain and chain 1, and then I'm going to do 10 single crochets into this first ring. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch. So I'm just going to count those back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So slip stitch into that first stitch. Okay, and then chain 3 and double crochet in that same stitch. In the next stitch, double crochet, picot, double crochet. The next stitch is a single crochet and a half double crochet. The next stitch, double crochet, picot, and a half double crochet. The next stitch is our big lot of stitches, so single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, picot, double crochet, still all in the same stitch, half double crochet and a single crochet. Sort my yarn out. Okay, so we've just done a single crochet, and then in the next stitch we are going to do single crochet. Remember that stitch might be hiding, so just pull your work around. So we're going to do a single crochet, picot, and a half double crochet. And then the next stitch is a half double crochet and a single crochet, and then a double crochet in the next stitch, picot, and another double crochet, and then in the next stitch 2 double crochets and 2 double crochets in the last stitch. Slip stitch into the top of your starting chain, and then make sure your starting ring down here and your chain and everything are all facing the right way. It might have got a bit twisted. And then slip stitch in these last 2 chains before your single crochet. One, and then the very last one. There we go. And that is that second leaf finished. How lovely does that look? Okay, so I'll show you differently this time. If you're keeping the same colour, you would just go straight into your next stitch and you would do a single crochet down there, ready to start your next leaf. And then remember, fasten off if you're changing colour and rejoin your colour in this same this next stitch, and then you will start off with your chain of 8. Okay, so rewind the video to the start of our leaves, and you want to have 8 leaves in total. So we started with 8 single crochets in this ring here, so you will have 1 coming from each single crochet. So if I just lay these here, there we go, and then bring these ones over here. I have all 8 here, and you can see they're all coming off of my center ring there. Okay, so up to you, however many colours you choose. Even you could just alternate these 2 colours if you prefer, or just all 1 colour. Up to you. Rewind the video, make your 8 leaves, and then I will be back to show you how we're going to make all of this into a square. Okay, so these are my 8 leaves as I've shown you before. I haven't joined every single leaf together yet, because what I want to do is show you how I did it. Bring this camera down a bit more. So what I've done, because these leaves will need to overlap, so I've kind of measured it out, and what we need to do is, if you look at your leaf and bring this one back in, you have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picots. Okay, you have 5 picots, and if you look at these bottom 2, these widest ones, what you need to do is have 1 overlapping near the center circle of 1. Okay, and what I've done is I've grabbed some stitch markers, some sort of pin stitch markers, and I've just attached them together so that they won't move too far away. Okay, and then you want to have them overlapping in the same direction, really, so make sure they're all going one way or the other. Okay, so these are all overlapping from this side over. Okay, so then this last one here, just going to put that to the center, grab a stitch marker, and you could use safety pins if you like, that would work too. Or if you don't have anything to hand, don't panic, you can do it without. It just means that when you're stitching it all together, well, we're not stitching, we're crocheting, that it will be, they will all be loose and floppy, and I should have shown you that first. When I had my 8 and I had them all coming off of the centre ring, and they just kind of were all hanging down, it looked quite amusing, which you've obviously seen yourself if you've made this now. I should have actually said, before you do this part, it is best to sew in all your ends, and this is where, if you're using just 1 colour, you will only have your starting end and your finishing end. So bravo to you, only having those 2 if you've done it in 1 colour. I had 8 colours, so I had 2 ends for each colour. Lovely. But it was worth it because it has made a really nice effect, I think. I've just sort of gone through these autumnal shades, and shades that I thought you find leaves in, or shades that you find in leaves. So there we go. So I've sewn in all my ends, and then I've attached them so they all overlap and they're all evenly spaced out. Okay, then we need to turn this into a square.